Hello and welcome to the No Flipping Excuses Show, the only podcast in real estate investing that teaches what you need to know to find and flip deals right now. Wow. Break free the chains that are holding you back and join us on this episode with Jason Lucchese.
Hey, what's up? It's Jason Lucchese, and welcome to the No Flipping Excuses Show. We are going to be talking about wholesaling today, and I am super excited. We've got a great guest that's joining us. He's a local investor here in the Indianapolis area, and he is crushing it. So I wanted to talk to Tyler. Tyler, how are you doing today, my man?
Doing great, man. Doing great. How about yourself, Jason?
Good, man. Yeah, thanks for joining us today on the show. Tyler's
Absolutely
doing some really awesome stuff here in the Indy market. And, we met at the Indianapolis Real Estate Investors Association probably 3 years ago. And he was just getting started. And I don't want to share your story because it's a good story on how you were able to leave what you did and how you're doing what you're doing today. So why don't we ask you that? How did you get started in the business, Tyler, and how's things going for you today?
So how I got started, man, is I hustled. I didn't know nothing when I first started, man. I didn't know a single thing about real estate. I was just a regular guy, just a normal guy, man. I mean, I seen a way out. I talked to people and knew it was real. So I started learning about it every single day. I kept hearing about people making so much money doing testimonials and stuff like that. So I had nothing to lose, so I just dove all in. When I first started, I got my first deal by driving for dollars because I was living on the budget back then. But driving for dollars, knocked on the neighbors' doors because it was a vacant house. It was actually a burnt up house that needed to be torn down. So knocked on the neighbor's door and they ended up knowing them. So he called me the next day, long story short, and I signed the paperwork on the hood of my car on the first deal.
Nice.
Ever since then, man, I've been going all in, going full force, scaling my business, hiring people, putting people in place to do better and grow. So
nice, man. But when you got started in the business, were you working a job?
Yeah, I was originally working at Amazon warehouse, like $13 an hour, something crazy, man. The first time I got made as much money as I made in a year in Amazon, I quit. So I think it was I made $32K in 1 week. And I was like, all right, there's no point of this no more. So I quit Amazon. I always knew if I could go back, worst case scenario. So I went head in on this wholesaling stuff ever since. So, yeah.
No, I hear you, man. And what would you say to somebody right now, a listener that was in your shoes? They're working a 9-to-5 grind. And I know you were working longer than 9 to 5 hours. But what would you say to somebody that's wanting to get started? There's tons and tons of education out there, but you don't want to overwhelm yourself to where you're over-educated and you're not actually applying what you're learning. Yeah. What do you think would be best for somebody that's just getting started and they want to get their first deal under their belt?
So for me, when I first started, it was an issue because I was all over the place. I was trying to do too much marketing strategies and stuff like that at once. When I started dial in on one thing specifically, and started mastering that, then I started seeing more results. So my main thing would be just to stay focused. Obviously, taking as much knowledge as you can every single day. Listen to podcasts, go on YouTube, iTunes, Bigger Pockets, all kinds of free education out there. So every day, just learn, take action every single day. The action is the best experience you're going to get. So I would do that every single day until, you fail, you'll fail, and you just keep going and going and going. You learn from those lessons, you just keep going. So, that's the best advice I can give somebody that's new, just starting and looking to get their first deal.
No, that's great. And you had a really strong why on why you were doing this business as well. Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah, I'll share. So my why in the beginning was mainly because of my family. Like I said, when I started from nothing. So like I said, when I say I started from nothing, I like literally started from nothing. My family's from nothing. We're from nothing. So my biggest why was just taking us out of that position and growing, and just getting away from that life. You know,
Yep.
I always wanted to be better. I wanted to show my mom to be better. She was a single parent of 6 kids for most of her life. She was working 2 full-time jobs. And I wanted her to take her out of that position to where she didn't have to work 2 full-time jobs. She was able to quit her job already, one of her jobs already. So now she's only working 1 job. I'm helping her with a lot of stuff now. So that was one of my main goals, was just to get her on her feet more, because she's done a lot for us as us, her 6 children. And that was one of my main whys, was to get her out of the struggle and help her become more successful. So a lot of weight is taken off her shoulders. So
No, that's awesome, man. And how important do you think having a why is in order for you to be pushing yourself every single day? Do you think that's pretty important?
Extremely important. It's extremely important, because if you don't have a why, then you don't really have anything to shoot for. You know,
Yeah.
money's just money. So if you're just going for the money just for the money, I mean, that's not really a good enough why. So you need something to motivate you for when you have those downs. You know, you keep going.
Yep.
You know, that down moment's not going to stop you. You're going to keep going and keep going and keep going after that, and you're going to be able to push through it all.
Yep. No, absolutely, man. So yeah, and I know you've done some really cool things, and we'll talk about that here to kind of circle back on why the why is so important. But let's flash forward to today, man. You're doing some really cool stuff. You're growing out a team, which is huge, because that's what true CEOs do. Is they recognize that they're growing, and the only way to increase and have exponential growth within their company is recognizing, hey, I'm a CEO, not an entrepreneur. In your case, what are you doing? What are you doing nowadays, man? Tell us a little bit about, what's going on in your world.
Yeah. So right now I've been mainly focused on growing my business. I hired an acquisitions manager here recently. So my main focus has been getting him on his own and be able to do things without me in the picture. So
Sure.
I've been doing a lot of training him. So this year I've been mainly focused on scaling my business. Like I said earlier in the interview, is putting people in place so I don't have to do most of the legwork myself anymore. Because obviously, coming from nothing, starting from nothing, I was doing a lot of the legwork originally. So
Sure.
now it's about placing myself and putting people in a position to do things for me so I can scale the business and focus on things that's going to make the business grow.
And when did you realize you needed to start scaling the business for yourself? Obviously, you were doing a lot of this stuff yourself. Doing all that stuff yourself, were you starting to realize, hey, I'm kind of doing all this stuff and I'm taking myself away from getting more deals, growing the business? Like, when did the light bulb go off in your head saying, man, I just need to start putting together a team?
That's a really good question. I would say when I started realizing I was doing too much. I was all over the place, working 80 hours a week or whatever it was, every week obviously being different, but I worked a lot. So when I realized that if I start putting people in place, that my workload would start to go down and I could start focus on building the system.
Yep.
And putting stuff in place and putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
Sure.
So it really, to answer your question, it came down to when I realized I couldn't do everything on my own.
No, absolutely, man. No, that's great. And also too, you're a licensed real estate agent too, correct? Yeah. But you're only doing it because you're for your own benefit, correct?
Yes. Just for access to MLS. I mean, every once in a while I'll do something related to that, but it's not typical. So typically I only work with investors. So
okay.
And that's all I usually do is just work with investors. So, but every once in a while, like I said, I'll do something retail related, but it's rare. So, but yeah, I just mainly got access for so I can pull better comps instead of using Zillow and stuff like that. Is the main reason why I got it.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And for somebody starting off new, they're just getting their business going. Let's say they were in your shoes, and that was a while ago. It seems probably like a while ago for you now, but you still can feel that pain that you went through. And somebody's going through that pain right now, but they really, really want this to happen for themselves. Do you recommend that somebody get their license? And obviously we're not going to hold you to this or anything like that, but you obviously went and got the license.
Going through it, I wouldn't recommend it because it's time consuming, and you can use that time instead of studying. You can use that time to grow your wholesaling business, or investing business, your marketing business. You can, well, I know that you can do it in the state of Indiana. I'm not sure about other states, but I know in the state of Indiana, you can actually be an unlicensed assistant under a realtor.
Right.
So you can have access to the MLS without actually being licensed. And all you would have to do is provide value to the realtor, say, hey, I can give you leads that don't work for me or something of that sort. And you guys can work that out. So it's a win-win for the both of you and the realtor. But yeah, personally going back now, I kind of regret it because I wasted like 2 months studying. Like I was in the books for hours in a day. So if I would just use that to instead grow my wholesaling business, then I'd probably be not too much farther, but probably a little bit further. So
sure.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. So let me ask you this, if you were to recommend to somebody that was just getting started in the business, what would be like the first few steps? Because obviously all of us as individuals that have been in business for a period of time, we could all look back and know what our mistakes were. So if you can go back and eliminate the time, like you just said, with, spending the books for your license, or, just doing maybe non-productive stuff for your business, what would you recommend to somebody in order to be really efficient with their time? Maybe they're a single mother. They've got 2 kids. They're working 2 jobs, and maybe they only have 5 to 10 hours per week to put into their business. What would be something that you would encourage somebody to do?
To not waste time on.
For getting started, and building the confidence that you need in order to know that this is a real business.
I mean, like I said, I would mainly focused on what moves you forward. So anything that doesn't move you forward and is a time waster, you got to stop doing it, especially if you have a full-time job and you're trying to do this to make it into something. You're going to have to cut out a lot of the unnecessary stuff because you're going to have to use all that time to grow your business. So if you're like watching Netflix for hours on end, at the end of the day, just stop all that stuff. Anything that doesn't make you happy, I wouldn't do. I mean, Netflix, I guess it kind of make people happy, but it's not going to progress you, So if it doesn't progress you, I wouldn't recommend wasting time on it. Pretty much, unless if it's family related or friends related or something like that, of course. But I mean, just do whatever makes you progress, level up. So I mean, everything else is just noise in the way. So
no, I agree with you, man. The whole Netflix thing, a lot of people spend too much time, I think, on that. Like if they're complaining, hey, my situation is this, then obviously Netflix is holding you back. But if you're busy and things are going well, you could look yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, I gave 100% today, and you want to go chill and watch a couple Netflix shows, by all means, it's your life.
That's different. You work hard, you deserve it. Every once in a while you do want to relax, of course. But if you're like every single day, your first thing to do when you get home from work is get on the Xbox or, get on Netflix, you're not going to progress because you're wasting that time that you could be using to grow your business and progress yourself, not just business-wise, but, personally.
Right.
So.
Exactly, man. No, I agree with you 100%. Now, with your guys' current business, are you guys mainly focusing on wholesaling, or are you guys doing a little bit of rehabbing and a little bit of buy and hold too?
So Mainly it's wholesaling. I did buy one property here recently, and I'm going to flip it.
Cool.
But mainly it's been wholesaling. I want to master this 100% before I try to do too much at once. There's a saying, you chase two rabbits, you catch none, and you chase one rabbit, you catch one, or something like that. That's kind of how I see it too. Yep. If I'm doing two things at once, it's doing too much when I still got to work on this over here. So
sure.
Yeah, mainly I'm just wholesaling, and once I scale this completely and everybody's in place, then I'll start worrying about other things. But I know I can handle one rehab project, maybe a rental here and there, but to actually scale that at the same time I'm trying to scale wholesaling, I don't recommend. So
no, I hear you. So you guys are mainly doing wholesaling right now. And for somebody that's just getting started, obviously wholesaling is what I encourage and recommend to them. For somebody that's wanting to do maybe like a JV, and they're wanting to approach folks like yourself, maybe there's another Tyler in another market that's, doing multiple deals consistently. What would you say what would you like to hear from somebody that's brand new and they're calling you, Tyler, and maybe they've grown like a buyer's list. Maybe they've done and listened to some of our trainings on what we do in our podcast for finding cash buyers. What kind of things would you like to hear from somebody that's calling you in order for you to be like, okay, I want to do business with this person?
They got to know their numbers. That's the main thing. A lot of people bring me deals that are not deals. And that's one of the main problems I've been running into working with new people is they just say, here, look at this. This is what I got.
Yep.
And then for me to analyze their deals for them, it's a waste of time for me because I have my own leads to worry about.
Sure.
So for me, the one thing is bring me a deal that, I don't have to worry about if the numbers are right or not. Now, obviously, that's a thin line because some numbers work or some investors like certain numbers, of course. So
sure,
it's a thin line. But if it's a terrible number, there's no equity in the property. And I can understand if you don't know repair costs, you're new. I understand that. I've been through the same thing. But if you're bringing me a property with no equity, it needs work, and don't waste your time. Learn how to evaluate a deal the right way, bring it to me, and then we can work that way. It's a lot more simple for me because I'm a busy guy analyzing my own deals, teaching my acquisitions manager and trying to scale my own business.
Sure.
So to do business too, that's a lot. So
absolutely.
So man, just bring me deals that actually work. And there are times that I can't find a buyer, and I'll be more than willing to work with you.
Sure.
If you have buyers, but you want to vet them and make sure they're actual cash buyer before you bring them to me and say, hey, I got a buyer, and waste my time.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this then, man. What led you down a path to where you were able to start evaluating deals from like a repair cost standpoint? Like, what would you recommend to folks? Like, because I got an email the other day from somebody that you and I probably both know. And I looked at the pictures, and she said in her email that it was 10 to 15 grand in rehab. I'm like, there's no way this is a 10 to 15 grand rehab. It had to have been at least probably like a 30 to 35 grand rehab. So obviously with you and I having as much experience from doing house flipping and wholesaling and all that kind of stuff, what's a good route for somebody to go down in order to gain that experience of knowing what certain costs are?
That's a good question because what's funny is I asked the same question of your partner, Mike.
Yep.
Michael,
yep.
Back in the day. What he recommended and his great advice is, you have your own contract, or you have the buyer's contractors go in there and you ask them, what do you think this is going to be cost? What do you think this is going to cost? Why are you choosing this and not that?
Sure.
You're going to go deep into it with the contractor as if you're the end buyer, you're the investor yourself. So you're going to start asking the contractor the same questions you would if you were the investor yourself.
Sure.
That way you start to earn prices, and don't do it just with one contractor here and there. Get multiple bids on the place. Get your own bids, get your own contractors in there. Obviously they have to have a track record and a proven contractor. It can't just be your uncle that does side jobs or something. So it's got to be the right people that you're getting in there and do the estimates for you. So, and that will help you a lot to understand the numbers in your market, because every market's going to be different as well.
Well, do you feel like too, if somebody comes to you and they don't have the right numbers, does that lose credibility with you? Like when they call you the next time?
If they don't listen, because I try to teach them, I'll say, hey, look, you gotta do this to understand the numbers.
Yep.
And if they I keep running into the same problem with them over and over and over. Obviously they're not doing anything to fix their situation.
Sure.
Compared to somebody that's, hey, look, what do you think about this one? I think I analyzed it right this time. What do you think? That's a different scenario.
Yep.
Or they come to me, I had a couple bids on this. What do you think? You think this is accurate or what? That's a whole different scenario compared to somebody just bringing me the same problem over and over again repeatedly.
Gotcha. And over time, if they continue to do that, it's probably somebody you're not going to take their call from anymore.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, not necessarily take a call from, but, I would talk to them just because if they're still trying, you can see they're obviously still trying, so you can see potential in them.
Yeah.
But they just got to take it upon themselves to want to learn and grow more on their own. Take it upon themselves to learn and do it the right way.
Sure.
That's the main thing.
So one of the things I always try and tell folks is network and meet other wholesalers in the area, even investor friendly real estate agents, because they may have deals that you could do JVs on. Would that be another route that you would recommend for folks like that are just getting started? Because if they don't have money from a marketing standpoint to get their own deals,
absolutely.
Maybe talk to people like you and what's a typical percentage that you would split on that?
It depends. So I will split 50-50 if it makes sense. I'm going to obviously go the route whichever way I'm going to make more money. So if you're offering 50-50, but your guy's willing to pay $20K over my asking price, that's a lot different than somebody lowballing me on I'm only going to make $5K, but if I go with you and it's a 50-50, I make $10K or whatever.
Sure.
That's kind of what it comes down to me is how am I going to make it? And I would expect the same thing from another wholesaler. I'm not going to say, hey, work with me, split 50-50 with me no matter what. I didn't find a deal. I didn't negotiate that. I didn't put it under contract. You did that.
Sure.
So you do what you want with your deal, but if I got a buyer for you, and I'd expect a 50-50 split as well, that I'm bringing you more money to the table. Don't counter me and say, no, you only going to make $2K on this one. Because if you're making more money going with me, then why wouldn't you split it with me 50-50?
Sure.
You're making more money anyway. So there's enough out here for everybody, and that's going to keep them coming back. That's why I said I just worked with another wholesaler who did the same thing with me. She's getting 50-50, Nisha.
Yeah.
She found a buyer for me, and I was going to end up making more money with working with her. So I was like, okay, I'll split it with you 50-50. So we're getting $9,950 each.
Nice.
A decent deal. It's one of her biggest ones, she said. So congrats to her.
Yeah.
And she found a buyer for me. So I was like, okay, it makes sense to go with you. So
sure.
Yeah, I will split it with you 50-50.
Nice, dude. I like that.
Now she's calling me and saying, hey, which one of your properties are available? Is this one still available? Is this one still available? Is this one still available? Yep, nope. And and she gets to work.
Nice. I like it, man. I like it. So obviously, you got started after the market crash from 2008. With you now having some experience under your belt and closing, the transactions that you have, where do you feel the market is kind of shifting? Do you feel any shifts? Do you think from a market standpoint we're seeing any changes?
Yeah, that's a real good question. I do feel a slight market shift. I think is slowing down. But as far as it making my business worse, I don't think it'll make anything worse. I think I'll just have to adjust my strategy. I'll just have to learn from what I've done and just adjust and, change my strategy pretty much. So there's going to be more buying holders than flippers when the market crashes. And I'll prepare for that, But right now, yes, I have felt a little slight shift. But but I'm still making stuff happen. People are still making money. People are still flipping.
Yep.
But you can tell some investors are kind of getting more hesitant. Most definitely.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool, man. So we're coming to the segment of the show to where I ask all of our guests this question. Do you have any books that you've recently read that you would recommend to our listeners? Anything that pops out to you that you would recommend?
Yeah, it really depends on what stage you're in of your business. If you're brand new, if you're experienced. Right now I'm reading Traction. That's for more experienced people. If you're brand new, I'd recommend mindset books and fundamental books. That's going to just break the basics down of whatever you're doing. If you're wholesaling, if you're renting or flipping, buy a book that's on that, and also buy books on motivational books and personal development books, because those help tremendously as well.
That's awesome.
It's not just real estate related stuff that helps you. There's a lot more to it than that. So I definitely recommend, if you're brand new, or if you're not brand new, if you're more experienced, Traction. If you're brand new, books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You got a good book out too, as far as motivational stuff, and
Yeah.
So
Thanks, man.
I mean, anything, anytime. Anything that's, like I said, is going to progress you. You want to learn it, whether it's a book or whether it's a video, a podcast, audio. It doesn't matter. It's a meeting. Anytime you're going to want to learn and take action. But to answer your question, I know I kind of got off track.
Oh, no, you're fine.
But to answer your question, the for experienced people, Traction. For less experienced people, Rich Dad, Poor Dad's a good one.
Yep.
That teaches motivational stuff and about buying and holding. And it's also going to depend on your goals as well too. So that's a broad question, but it does depend on a lot of stuff.
No, that's good. That's good, man. So Tyler, if folks want to reach out to you, maybe they've got some deals, or maybe they're wanting to buy some deals from you. How can they reach out to you, man? What's a good way for them to connect?
They can email me. I just created this email because I knew he was going to ask this question. It's not one of my main emails, but I will check it. I don't want any spam in there, obviously. So this is a new email. It's just my last name, which is Shoaf, SHOAF, and then my first name, Tyler, TYLER, then 9393@gmail.com. You can send me an email there. We can connect on there. If I think we can provide value to one another, I'll get on a call with you, and we'll talk business.
No, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And then, Tyler, do you have any parting words for our listeners right now?
I mean, not really, man, other than if you're new, like I said earlier, I mean, you want to take action nonstop. You want to take in knowledge as consistently as you can, every single day, every single sparing minute you got. You want to gain more knowledge to hone your craft.
Yep.
And then take action on that every single day until you start seeing results. Like I said, if you fail, that's all right. You learn from those and you keep going. So.
Yep. I agree, man. I agree. No, that's great. That's good parting words. I really appreciate it. So we are wrapping up with the show right now. If you guys need anything whatsoever from us, make sure you reach out, support@jasonluchesi.com. Again, that's support@JasonLuchesi.com. We'll have Tyler's information in the show notes so that you could connect with him. Don't send him any spam. If you're a legit individual, you're wanting to do some deals with him, go ahead, shoot him an email. He's an awesome guy here, and he's doing some amazing things. So connect with him. Make sure that you reach out to us if you need anything whatsoever. And also make sure, if you are listening to this on iTunes, that you leave us a 5-star review. I know we deserve it. Tyler dropped some amazing information on today's show. So make sure you leave us a 5-star review. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. But Tyler Shoaf, thank you so much for joining us on today's No Flipping Excuses show. For those of you out there, no problem, man. We will talk to you soon. Go flip a house, my friends. We will talk to you later.